Welcome back, everyone, to the Coffee and Grace podcast. I am here with my very special guest and friend, Miss Wendy. Thank you so much for joining us today, Wendy.
Thank you for having me, Amanda.
Absolutely. Wendy is a special Facebook friend of mine. We've been friends for many years online, and she's also a special needs mom. So I thought it would be really great to bring her on today and just talk about her special needs and how that experience has been for her. And we're also going to transition to talking about entertaining, and that is something that she really loves to do. So we're going to transition to that a little bit later in the call. So welcome once again, Miss Wendy. Can you share a little bit about your family and your journey into motherhood?
Yes, we are a family of seven. So we have five children. My oldest is 13. My youngest is 5. They're all pretty close in age. Satir, who is my child with special needs, he's 8 and he is my fourth boy. And I am a stay-at-home mom, and I also get to homeschool my children, which is a blessing. Ever since I can remember, I wanted to be a mom and just take care of my family. So I am really happy that I get to do that.
Yes, what a blessing. So tell us about your pregnancy and finding out about his diagnosis.
So, like I said, Satir was my fourth pregnancy, and everything went quite well. I have been blessed with very easy pregnancies, actually. So, he was born at home. He was my first home birth, and there were no concerns during the pregnancy. I did end up getting some extra ultrasounds, and none of them caught anything about his diagnosis. So, it was at birth or I should say after the day after he was born, when I realized he had Down syndrome. I just started noticing he looked a little bit different than his brothers. And I just kept thinking about it throughout the morning. And then at some point, I was changing his diaper. I laid him on bed and I looked at him. And then I asked the Lord, what is it, Lord? There's something going on with Satir. I don't know what it is. I wasn't really worried because he was healthy, he was perfectly fine, but he just looked different. So I asked the Lord, what is it? Why is this bothering me? And just out of nowhere, Down syndrome just came to my mind, and I knew right there that that's what's going on.
That's what's happening. Wow. So, what was your reaction when you realized that he had Down syndrome?
Oh, I was devastated. By far the hardest day of my life. It was hard, wrenching, so much that I didn't share with anyone, even with my husband. I kept it to myself because I was just overwhelmed and scared about the future. All I
Right.
all I could think is this is bad. I had no. I basically kind of lost hope those first few hours after I realized he had Down syndrome.
Right. So, those first emotions were really hard. Was there anything or something that someone said to you that was especially helpful during that time?
Well, once I shared it with people, I was blessed in that everyone gave me very good encouragement. All I got was, nice comments from people and encouragement, and everyone was just um, so helpful with their words. I know, unfortunately, some moms have that experience with their children, but I was blessed in that everything was gonna be fine. Everything that everyone said was positive.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, what do you wish that someone had told you in those early days?
For me, the hardest part, believe it, after obviously realizing about his diagnosis, was sharing with others. I wish someone had told me this is going to be hard. Just give yourself time. You don't have to do it right away. And I'm actually glad that my husband kind of hold me from telling everyone right away because I was not ready at all. So once I realized he had Down syndrome. He obviously had to get testing done. That took about a couple of weeks, I think, before we got the result. So those 2 weeks really helped me to put myself together and then be able to share with my family and with everyone else, the closest friends, about the diagnosis, because that was really hard for me.
Right. Right. I can only imagine. So, how did your faith shape the way that you process the diagnosis?
To be honest, that those first hours after I realized I had Down syndrome, my faith kind of went out the window. I just all I could think was, this is going to be bad. This is going to be terrible. To be with this. Why me? I get the typical feelings.
Right.
But at the same time, just having the Lord there available for me 24/7 whenever I wanted to talk to Him, just pour out my heart to Him, knowing that He was listening, knowing that He was putting me through this, right? He is the one who ultimately decided to give me this child. So
Right.
having was very helpful because, like I said, I didn't share with a lot of people right away. So I had someone to talk to.
Right. Having him there that we can always share with him and pour our heart out, like you said, is so comforting. So, what a blessing. Were there specific scriptures, prayers, or hymns that carried you through that time?
Actually, there was a hymn. And so while I was praying with Sati during our Bible time, the Bible time with my children, we would learn a hymn. So towards the end of my pregnancy, we were memorizing a hymn called Marching to Zion. After Satir was born, once I got back into my little routine with my children, we were doing our Bible time, and then we started singing that hymn. And the lyrics really hit me. Just knowing that all this was temporary, that the hymn said, "We are marching to Zion." We're just going through this life, right? And eventually
Right.
we walk the streets of gold, and the Lord will wipe away our tears and everything will be fine. That was a blessing.
Yes, what a blessing. What a special time that you could learn that song with your children and then later sing it after, his birth and diagnosis and have that comfort. That's so beautiful, Wendy. I love that. So, what practical steps did you take after the diagnosis?
To be honest, I feel like everything was handed down to me. I didn't have to do much. Before we left the hospital, they had already put me in contact with the school district. And then the school district reached out to me. I didn't have to make any phone call. Um, Also, my midwives had already attended a birth with a baby with Down syndrome. So they put me in contact with this lady, and she was very sweet. She brought it's called a Jack's basket with a lot of baby goodies and a lot of resources, books and pamphlets and whatnot about, caring for your child with special needs and about all the services that are available for us here in Minnesota. So that was a blessing.
That is a huge blessing. So, what resources were most helpful?
Those early years, having the school district actually come to your home was really helpful. I wasn't ready to go out and take him everywhere, for therapy. So they come to your home the first 3 years of their lives. So it happens at home. So that was really nice. And then I slowly added private therapies because of his diagnosis. He qualified right away for all kinds of therapies, and everything was covered by insurance. So I just slowly added those extra therapies. And then, of course, with social media nowadays, it was very easy to reach out to other moms with special needs. In here in Minnesota, I have at least two groups where, we gather every so often. So that's nice.
That's wonderful to have that support, especially the local support. That's so nice. Um, so, how did you advocate for your child in the early days?
To be honest, that's been mainly my husband, especially in the medical aspect. He takes care of a lot of the medical aspect with Satit. It takes him to appointments. Just lately, I have been more involved with taking him to appointments, but at the beginning, it was mainly him handling all the medical stuff. I just hate papers, so it was nice that he didn't mind doing it. And as far as school, well, I was, like I said, I homeschool my children, so I knew right away that I would be homeschooling Satir. I know working with the school districts can be really challenging. If you're lucky, you get to a wonderful school where everything is, ready for them. And sometimes you really have to fight them and, for them to meet the needs of your child. So I'm just glad that I don't have to deal with any of that. And I just homeschool him.
Right. What a blessing to be able to do that. That's wonderful. So, what advice would you give to a mom who feels overwhelmed navigating the appointments and paperwork?
Get your husband involved. Yeah, just get others involved. If you are able to get your husband, a family to help you, and let's say you don't have any of that support, just start very slowly. Because even though I had that support, I added therapies very slowly. I know when we have our babies, we want to give them the best right away, but we also have to balance with, I had already three little ones at home.
Right.
To be very careful about, what other things I added into my plate. So, like I said, I started therapies one at a time. As I felt comfortable, I kept adding things. So do not feel pressure to do it all at once.
That's great advice. That is great advice, just to take it slow and do it as you can, add them. So, what are some signs that a mom needs support and shouldn't try to be strong alone?
I think the easiest spot would be just moms start to neglect their appearance, maybe. They start to withdraw from social gatherings. So if you notice a mom like that, do reach out to them because we all could use a little bit of help. And it doesn't have to be like that you have a child with special needs. We moms are busy and sometimes we just want to do it all and it's okay to ask for help.
Right, right. That's so good. So, how does a diagnosis like this alter a mom's life?
Oh man, this for me the hardest part has been to think about the future. So far, to be honest, my life hasn't been altered. I feel like obviously we have had to add a lot of things, a lot of appointments and therapies, things like that. But overall, my life at the moment, I can say that is pretty much the same as it was before Satit. But when I do think about the future, that really does change your perspective, and you really have to plan ahead and just take that into consideration when you're thinking just buying a house. Um, you have to take all those things into consideration when you have a child with special needs.
Right, thinking about the future and what you need. Um, so, what has been the hardest part of this journey?
The hardest part. But it is a very easy boy, I feel like, behavior wise. He's a really good sleeper. I love that. He eats well. Um, but for us, his speech has been by far the hardest to deal with. Fortunately, it hasn't affected his behavior, but just for me as a mom, it does break my heart not being able to communicate with my child, not knowing what is going, through their mind. If
Right,
they're sad, if they are excited. I mean, if they are happy, you can usually spot it, and even if they are sad, but just not have the words to communicate with him is really hard. And right now he has a speech, so he's nonverbal, and he's been working the past year to learn how to use this speech device. So we are hoping that will at least alleviate that situation a little bit.
Oh, that'll be so nice. I'll be praying for that, that'll be a good communication tool for your family. Um, so how has this impacted your family and your marriage?
I think we all have learned to be more patient. Patience is definitely not my strength, but you have to be.
Right.
And I realized that you can be patient. Sometimes we feel like that's not my gift. But when you are forced to, like you really say, yes, I can be patient. And I noticed that especially with Satit. So that has really helps you to grow some areas where you thought there's no way I could do this. And everyone has always been so just willing to do the extra for Satit and almost to a fault. But yeah, it like I said, it has been challenging, obviously, but at the same time, our life has we haven't stopped enjoying life because of his diagnosis. Life goes on, and he's just another member of the family.
That is beautiful that you all work together. And like you said, even to a fault sometimes. I love that the siblings are close. That's so great. What helps you and your husband stay unified through all this?
If there's a word I think that would be respect. I feel like even when on our worst days, on our worst moments, we have always remained respectful. And I feel like that is a huge blessing because I know words can hurt deeply, and I just know that he has like his family is always a priority, making us all happy, and I think that would be a respect, just knowing that I can be at my worst and he will remain respectful and loving and caring.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, we can say things that, the other person would feel disrespected, and obviously that can turn into an ugly argument, right? So it's a great way to like prevent those things from even happening is when you can stay respectful towards one another. So how did you explain the diagnosis to the siblings?
So it actually took me a few years probably to actually tell them. They were young and I honestly didn't see the need to tell them right away because it was just another member of the family.
Right.
It was just another baby. So they were all excited about having another baby and they played with him and they honestly didn't notice anything different right away. And when the time came, we just sat them down. I got a little book. Um, it's called 47 Strings. So it explains in very plain language what Down syndrome is. So that's how I ended up telling them about diagnosis.
That's great. What routines have helped your family?
That has changed over the years, but I remember in those early years having a strict bedtime routine, having them, being fed by 7 or 8. Something as simple as that is really helpful. After, long days, busy days, really helps to have some time for yourself and, some time for, just to be with your spouse, right? And nowadays, my children are a little bit older. Things that help are like everyone has their own chores, right? Everyone helping around the house. So those kind of things where everybody knows this is what's supposed to happen in the morning, afternoon, evening. So those
Right.
those really help. Having everyone involved in the house, not trying to do it all yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. What would you say to a mom who just received a diagnosis this week?
Oh man. I know it's hard. I know it's so difficult to get a diagnosis like this, but just know that God need that baby in your womb. God made the baby exactly the way He wanted it to be, and He's going to help you through it. Just know that you are not alone and you can rely on Him, and He is giving you that trial, and He's going to make a way. The Bible says that He's going to make a way out of that mess that we feel at the beginning.
Right.
It's a blessing. He's just a baby like anyone else, and just realizing that their value is not because of what they can do or they cannot do. Their value is because of God, because He made them.
Right.
And a blessing.
Right. That's beautiful. How has God shown himself faithful in your journey?
I think for me, it has been the fact that He has surrounded me with so many wonderful people. Just people that loves me and my family. That has been wonderful. And so neither my husband nor I have relatives or family here in Minnesota.
Mm,
But I can honestly say I have never felt alone. I am surrounded by obviously my family, my church family, all their close friends. So I have been really blessed that way.
that's wonderful. What unexpected blessings have come from this road?
Oh, well, that would have to be Sati himself. Personality is love, the kind of love they give it. It's not, they are special needs, but they also give you a kind of love that is so special to them that you don't receive from anyone. It's just so pure, so innocent. It just fills your heart. Just when he looks in the eye and when he gives you a hug or a kiss, it just fills your heart, and you forget about everything.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Wendy, you carry so much strength and grace in motherhood, and yet you're also known for creating the most beautiful, joy filled gatherings. I hear about these. I'd love to shift gears and talk more about that part of you, if you don't mind. Where did your love for hosting come from?
It actually was kind of random. So in our previous church, one day you know, we what did it happen? Oh yes. So our pastor hosted something at his house, and then he asked members of the church to host gatherings in their own home. So Sonia and I thought like, well, that this would be nice. And it all started from there. We had that little gathering and we really enjoy it. I like doing it. So we just kept the tradition.
Wow, that's so neat. So, why is hospitality important to you as a mom?
Well, it helps me bring people into my children's life, into my life, right? Like I said, we are pretty alone when it comes to family. So having those relationships, those close relationships, and sharing life with other people, and especially brothers and sisters in Christ. That is really important for me. That we never feel alone, right? That we are social creatures, so I want my kids to not never feel alone, even though we don't have like very close family nearby.
Yes, so thankful for the church families, right? I love that. So, how do you find the energy to host while navigating demands of special needs parenting?
So I get my children involved.
That's so good.
If they are going to get to enjoy the gathering, they also have to, help at the house, right? They help me clean, cook a little bit here and there. So yeah, they are usually happy because they're gonna get to enjoy being with their friends as well. So
Right.
wonderful way to to delegate.
Yes, delegation is a beautiful thing. You do a great job, Mama. I'm really, really inspired by you. So, do you see hosting as a ministry?
In some aspect, it kind of has become a little ministry, especially when it comes to the ladies' gatherings from my church. Our church is not very big, and we don't have a lot of opportunities to fellowship, especially only ladies. So it is nice to have that outlet and just having everyone over and just enjoying that time together.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So, what are your favorite types of gatherings to host?
Oh, I love birthdays. I always celebrate birthdays big, but sometimes we have people over and that's even a bigger celebration. So I really enjoy doing those, all the games and doing the cakes and the food. And yeah, so I enjoy that. And anything during Christmas. I just love Christmas. So having people over during that season, just
Yes.
I love.
I remember seeing all of your Christmas decorations. It was so beautiful. And I remember seeing decorations for a baby shower at one point too. It was so gorgeous. I was just taken back by it. You do such a great job. So, what is your advice for mom who says, I can't create or I'm not talented like that?
Oh, you don't have to be. You just have to be willing to open the doors of your home to others, and obviously do it slowly as you feel comfortable. But just being willing to open yourself to other people.
Right? Just being hospitable. People just appreciate that in general, right? Um, you like to make things from scratch. What are your go to crowd pleasers?
I think I receive a lot of compliments when I make my chili. Just a random Martha Stewart recipe I found many years ago. One then I did a little bit of, alterations. But yeah, I think everyone enjoyed my chili. And then my husband made some really good rotisserie chicken. So
Yeah.
those two.
Both of those sound amazing. I love chili and I love chicken too. So, how do you make gatherings beautiful without spending a fortune?
I have thrifted a lot of my servingware. So if a lot of it is secondhand, either from the thrift store or from estate sales. So that's how, and I have built my little stat slowly.
Right, just over time. Yeah, just gather everything over time. So, how do you create a welcoming atmosphere for your guests?
I personally focus on having the house organized and clean. I love the cooking aspect of it, but honestly, having it organized and clean is kind of my priority. I feel like that's always my top list.
So, guests feel at home and that kind of thing. That's so great.
I think I mean I feel like they would feel welcome if they come to a place that is organized. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or it's just if it's presentable and clean.
Perfect. What are some ways to create a beautiful, low maintenance event? You mentioned just having things organized and the place clean. Is there anything else that you would add to this?
I like to cook things myself. I feel like I save a lot of money in there. I don't know if I'm right, but I feel like rather than buying everything already made, right, that is more expensive. It does require more time, but with a little bit of planning, I am able to manage.
Right. Do you ever struggle with comparison or perfectionism?
With comparison, not as much. And I do, for any event, I do spend some time on Pinterest or places like that. or even for decorating my home. I have my favorite YouTube channels or Pinterest uh, um, bloggers, but it's not really a struggle comparison. I I think I'm pretty good at being content with what I have.
That's beautiful. And just using those for ideas,
Right.
on how you could do things. That's perfect.
So getting just the ideas and being happy with what I do have, right? What can I take the inspiration and how can I turn it into something that I can actually afford, right?
Right.
And as far as perfectionism, I think I used to struggle with that a lot more at the beginning, but now I think I have learned to let go of certain things. So I have my list of priorities, and this is the minimum that needs to be taking place. If I get to this other thing, that's wonderful. If not, I'm still enjoying the gathering.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
like what I did everything because I have 5 children.
Right.
Not always possible.
Exactly. How do you keep hosting joyful instead of stressful?
Like I said, I prioritize. I got my list of this is what I need to get done, and then this is what is extra. Then I have all my little extras.
Hmm.
Be content with it. If I get my basics done, I am content. Just be content with that. If the other takes place, that's great, but it's not gonna ruin my day because I didn't get to bake this or that.
Right. Right. How do you keep your own routine during a hosting week?
So I do have, depending on the event, if it's a little bit bigger event, uh, I do write my list of things that I need to accomplish and then spread them throughout the week, just so that I take care of things along the weekend. I'm not waiting last minute to get everything done because that is not possible at all.
Right. That's not a reasonable. So, what helps you get through the rough times as we wrap up here today?
I have a lot of little things that bring me joy. I enjoy interior design and home decorating. So if I'm having a rough week, it is really nice to hear my husband, to have my husband offer me go shopping and buy something cute that I've been wanting for the house. During the summer, I have grown this beautiful garden in my front yard, so that brings me a lot of joy too. And then share it especially with my little girl,
Aw.
like that. Just getting ready for the day, putting on a cute outfit that lifts my spirits right away too. So all the practical things that I try not to neglect all those little things that bring me joy throughout the day, throughout the week.
Right.
So it doesn't get too rough. I feel like that helps so life doesn't get too rough because I don't let it just pile up on, bad situations, sadness, whatever challenges I'm facing. I've always balanced it out with something that I enjoy.
That's such great advice. I love that. What does creating beauty in your home mean to you now?
I feel like I have been curating my home ever since I got married and just curating it and making it my own, something that I enjoy looking at, sometimes something that brings peace and joy to my family and obviously to myself. More so to myself, but like if I am happy, they get the benefits of it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. If mama's happy, everybody's happy, right? What would you say to a mom who feels like it's just too heavy to celebrate anything?
Oh, I know I have been there, but it does really help when you take your focus off yourself and then try to meet the needs of others.
Right.
It brings some joy that you were not expecting because you are serving others. So you're basically doing extra work, right? But just focusing on others, making others happy, meeting someone else's need, it really brings joy, I feel.
It truly does. It truly does. The Bible talks a lot about that, doesn't it?
Mhm.
So in closing, if you could leave our listeners with one message about motherhood, whether it's special needs parenting or everyday faithfulness, what would it be?
Well, especially when it comes with a child with special needs, know that you are not alone and that you don't have to go through this alone, because I know it can feel so isolating at times, because everyone around you has typical children and all of a sudden you feel left out, but it doesn't have to be that way. There's there are other people going through that same path, going that same road, and just a matter of finding them, kind of getting out there and finding that encouragement from other families with special needs. It's I find that really helpful. Even though I it's not the main thing that I do, fellowshipping with other families with special needs. Just knowing that others are going through that and getting together with them once in a while, it really helps you and keeps you encouraged. So do
Right.
not do this all on your own. And there are so many wonderful resources out there. Also having the assurance that God made that baby, and God gave you that baby and He's gonna help you through it. Of course it's going to be challenging, but it is your blessing from the Lord, and just enjoying our family and our children, right?
Right. Thank you so much, Wendy. It's been such a pleasure having you on, such a blessing. I really appreciate you sharing your story and also sharing about your hospitality and your entertaining. Like I said, I've seen beautiful, beautiful pictures. And so keep sharing those. I want to see your garden too. So post those.
Yes, I am. Yes, yes, the garden.
Well, thank you again so much, Wendy, for joining us today. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Coffee and Grace with Amanda. Bye bye.